So, Matthew 24, I, it's difficult to understand and interpret. I think I've demonstrated that. And I feel like I probably stirred more mud than cleared the waters, but well, it is what it is. So, uh, we're ready for verse 36. This is the part of Matthew 24 that I think I get. So, and in many ways, to me, gosh, it's hard to say one thing that Jesus said was more important than other things. But I think this could be kind of the significant, well, maybe this would be the lens to look back at all of Matthew chapter 24. Okay, verse 36. But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. That's big. I've mentioned it in quite a few different ways so far, that all the folks that keep saying, well, Jesus is going to come back at this time, all the dominoes have fallen, there's this and this and this, and that proves that this is the timing. And well, come on. Did you catch the part that even the Son, even Jesus himself, when he spoke to the apostles in this moment, did not know when that hour was coming? This is left up to the Father. Consider what that might mean. I think one of the things that I see in it is God is responsible for the timing. And I think the reason that he has delayed this day, the return of Jesus, is because Paul wrote this to Timothy, that God's will is that no one should perish, but that everyone should repent. In other words, he's giving time. That's what the Apostle Peter wrote, that God is not slow, as some count slowness. Yes, he will fulfill his promise, but he is waiting to grant opportunity to more and more people so that they'll say yes to Jesus. On one level, I've shared this before also. My experience with my close brush with death, I didn't know I was going to die that day. I had, and as a matter of fact, when I died, I thought I was just leaning my head back to rest and sleep for the rest of the way back to Danny and Anita's, and that was it. I don't know. I didn't know at that point that was, had it not been for the grace of God, Danny's quick action, and a series of miracles, that would have been the end of my life. And Jesus would have returned for me at that point. Okay. Nobody knows. So that being the case, there's a couple of things I think it suggests. One is, stay prepared. Not in this threatening way as don't let me catch you unaware, as much as I'm coming back, but I'm not telling you when, so just be ready for the whole thing. Second thing is, in this readiness, could today be the day? It could. Then bear in mind that you and I may get the high privilege of introducing someone to the grace of God. what I'm not saying is earn more stars in your crown by getting out there and saving more people. I, I don't think that's how it works anyway, but I do think God is delaying this day so that others may come to know Jesus. And what an honor for us to be able to help people through that process. Okay. About that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. And then he goes on, he says, as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. You know, Noah didn't know when the flood was going to come. He just knew it was going to come. And he spent hundreds of years building this huge boat, which, by the way, one of the things I hope to do in the near future is to get to Kentucky and see the Ark exhibit, because it's built on the same scale as Noah's Ark was. Anyway, as in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For, this is verse 38, for in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage up to the day Noah entered the ark. I mean, obla-di, obla-da, life goes on. Verse 39, and they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. This is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. The crowd Jesus was speaking to, his disciples and others who were listening in, they knew the story of Noah and the ark. And they, that's one of the stories that little kids were told by their parents because it was a captivating story, and the message was, well, what was the message of Noah's Ark? Well, several things. One is, you don't have to wait for a majority opinion to do God's will. Noah wasn't waiting around for his neighbors and everybody around him to give him a standing ovation for all the work he had done. He had spent hundreds of years on the construction of the boat with his 3 sons, and from the account in the book of Genesis, they were the only 4 workmen. It's a gargantuan task. He was by himself. A second thing is, he was ridiculed by those around him. And this didn't deter him. An important point. And maybe then the final thing I would draw from it for us this morning is they were caught completely by surprise. Well, that's how it's going to be when Jesus returns. I'll be surprised, even though I know it's coming. Won't you? Yeah. In verse 40, then he talks about some of the realities of that day. 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken and the other left. This sounds to me like rapture talk. That you remember that the angels will gather the elect, or those, in my opinion, it comes down to those who have said yes to Jesus from the 4 corners. And they will be taken, the others will be left. And the question of left for what, or to do what, or for what to happen to them, well, we're not quite I can't solve that question. So, but two men will be in the field. One will be taken, the other left. Two women will be grinding with a hand mill. One will be taken and the other left. What is that? That's the daily kind of mundane work of normal work. One will be taken, the other left. And then he goes on, without an explanation for taken to what, or left to deal with what. In verse 42, he says, therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. Kind of that's the point of the whole thing. Verse 43, but understand this. If the owner of the house had known at what time of night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch and would not have left his house to be broken into. So you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. Like a burglar, like a cat burglar who comes in the middle of the night, unannounced and intending to be undetected. That's be ready, because he says, I will come at an hour when you do not expect me. It's hard for me. I've sometimes heard teachers and preachers say, so live today expecting Jesus to return. I'm not good at that. I won't say I can't do it. I'll just say I'm not good at that, because the tasks of the day are here. And it's hard for me to live with the return of Jesus at the front of my mind. But it's worth reminding ourselves, this truly could be the day. There's a real possibility that I'm recording this now, and before you get to watch it, Jesus will have come back. I don't know. Could be. If you're watching this, obviously it didn't happen that way. And then verse 45. Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom the master has put in charge of the servants in his household to give them their food at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns. Can't relate much to this, but here's what it is. In Jesus' day, people of means had servants who took care of all the rest of the servants. They were the managers of the household. Well, a manager that did well was a great asset. And in all things being equal, a manager that did well would be recognized and rewarded for their good service. Then verse 47, truly I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But suppose that servant is wicked and says to himself, my master is staying away for a long time. And then he begins to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with drunkards. The master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, at an hour he is not aware of. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So Jesus finishes with a bit of a parable. Two kinds of servants left to manage the household. One took the responsibility well and seriously and did a great job, and the master then rewarded him by putting him over the entire household. And then the other one who took this as an opportunity to just do what he wanted, to feed his own momentary interests and desires. Well, his reward It's pretty harsh. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So, in the last, well, I've already gone over time. So, these last couple of seconds here, to me, the bottom line is pay attention and be faithful. Because if I don't pay attention, there are consequences. And most of all, live well. And I don't mean get all the things you want. I just mean live well according to God's design, because people who don't their reward is punishment. I mean, ultimate, horrible punishment. It's reality. There really is a hell, and people really will go there. So that's enough for today. I'll see you next time, whenever that is, on So Care with Stevie Boy.